No.
don't think we have.
No, because I just sent that out, the
It just went
most
out.
recent one Monday.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Did you get that one today?
So we'll get it on.
Franklin?
I saw it. but I didn't-
You just keep harassing him. In our response.
Are we ready? Can you hear me? Test.
Yours is muted.
Onward. Yeah. Well, this will turn on. All right. All right. Thank you all for joining us today. Today is our workshop, May 22nd, 2026 at 1 p.m. Before I jump in and open the meeting, could I invite everyone to join us for an invocation and a moment of silence? Almighty God, thank you for this wonderful day. Thank you for your blessings. Thank you for your wisdom and discernment. We pray that you guide us and lead us, that we have a fruitful conversation to get the town of Edgewood squared away. Lord, we pray for our brothers and sisters in Torrance County and the hurt that they're feeling right now with that explosion. We just pray for a quick recovery and wisdom and guidance for them. And with that, amen. And Lord, we just want to take a moment of silence as we prepare for Memorial Day weekend and remember all the men and women who served this country and gave their last full measure for this country, Lord. So just a moment of silence. Amen. Town clerk, can I get a roll call?
Yep. Commissioner Brennan,
Here.
Commissioner Milligan is absent, Commissioner Raridan is absent, Commissioner Murillo,
Here.
Commissioner Taylor,
Here.
you have a quorum.
All right, so we'll jump into discussion for fiscal year 26 budget recap and fiscal year 27 budget discussion, and I'll yield the floor to Commissioner Taylor.
I'm gonna sit over here so you get a better angle. Can you get?
That's on. That's on. That's on. Talk louder, just speaking.
Can you guys hear me okay? You guys hear me better doing this way?
It is what it is.
I don't think they'll hear you online though, Commissioner. Without the mic, right? I think you're projecting.
I'm projecting,
Adam's got it.
and we're currently projecting with you right now.
Test, test, test,
Oh, I'm sorry.
test, test, test.
Un momento, sorry guys.
Lieutenant, you try and darken these? Yep, I got it.
Okay, oh, that's way better. All right. Taking notes on that. Okay, everybody. So here is the spreadsheet. So backstory on this. I don't even know when Misty and I started this. So a lot of questions. There have been, as everybody know, finance departed in March, April. And so we have been chasing down some numbers. Misty built the main portion of this Excel and then inputted her columns of like year-to-date spent actuals currently. And then I went through and adjusted this. It was originally holding fiscal years 23, 24, 25, 26. And so what I felt was important today was to basically see where we were at with the approved DFA budget. We're going to kind of ignore column H. This was done originally when the spreadsheet first came to us. We had an idea of what the original budget was, and we had yet to get DFA's number and the going through Tyler. So this one was just in there, and I'll end up actually kind of closing it down more just so we can get all the way to the side here. Year-to-date spent, these are actual numbers Misty inputted. Where we currently stand, we are 22 days late. I imagine our direct costs will be coming here soon, probably, I'm assuming next week. Yeah, so these will be updated. And then remaining budget, what you see is we're just going to take the DFA approved budget, our year-to-date, and then we'll find the delta of what our remaining budget balance will be. Actual monthly, I just took our year-to-date spent and divided by 10 because we do have 2 more months left in the fiscal until June 30th, 2026. So these monthly actuals are an average, if you will. 2026 projected. So to get us to June 30th, 2026, we're just going to take our average monthly cost. I should change this actual to average, and then it will come out to, okay, over in the next 60 days, we're still going to spend $9,000 on this specific line item. And so, like the commissioners here, that total budget, I want to clarify, is not per commissioner. I wish. It is between all 5 of us. And I'm going to change this real quick, just so we don't actually get confused. And then, so then we'll have our variance or delta variance. So over the course of the past year, our over/under for those exact specific line items. And I mean, we have 600 rows to go through. And then what we did over here on the far side is we did the recommended 2027 budget and the adjustments to each specific line item. And you'll see our variance here. We're going to actually, I'll get to a quick example here. Normally you would see a parenthesis number in red. I highlighted it green because that means we are lowering that division's budget by that amount, trying to get to a balanced budget. So even though you'll see parentheses on the far right side variance column, it's actually, if it's green, it's actually a good thing because we're trying to lower the budget there. And then if you see black or red, that's a slight increase. Does anybody have any questions before we kind of just start rolling through this? On how I broke down everything, how it's kind of defined?
So the actual dates of the fiscal year are what?
July 1st we'll go for this current year that we're on is July 1st, 2025 to June 30th, 2026. Is that me? Oh, my bad. Okay. So I did do a little small recap per division. So general conditions of the governing body. Our DFA budget, we had $739,826. We're going to kind of ignore H. It's just there. Year-to-date spent, we've spent $556,227, and that's these first 400 lines are basically the entire general conditions for the town of Edgewood. So this specifically is going to be the commissioners, full-time salaries, which I believe is Kelly, Misty, and Linda. So the town liaison. Our overtimes, the basic medical care, all that stuff. traveling, and we'll print a copy of this. Go ahead.
What's the Medicare line item for?
That's for the mandatory federal withholding for Medicare, the contribution.
Okay, gotcha,
Yes, ma'am.
understand it. Thank you, Misty.
You're welcome.
Attorney fees?
Ouch.
Yep, well, that's the budget, and that's what we spent. So we are technically upside down on just attorney fees, which you're gonna get down, so with our projections of 30,000 for the remaining year, we're gonna end up being negative 110 grand on that budget specific line item. So then we go to 2027, and we recommended to increase that, obviously. I wanna preface, I understand there may be skeletons, and I understand that, and I have been here for 5 months, and I want to show everybody all this and be transparent, so there are going to be things, and I'm not gonna hide anything. I'm going to specifically point out attorney fees right there, 75K budget, even though,
Why are we so far over budget with that? 110 is a lot of money to be over budget. So.
Yes. I don't,
What is
I
that?
have a slight educated opinion on it of what I believe how it happens. Correct me if I'm wrong, but each attorney that we have has a contract for a specific year at a set monetary value, right? And so then if we have more lawsuits, more time, they go over that contract to where we then have to do a budget modification to get more money to extend that contract and or to add more budget to it.
Okay, so if we have budget, we have line items going to 2027, which is coming up in about 5 weeks. We've got 160 in budget. Do I read that correctly?
No,
For
it's-
2027?
That is what we are recommending. So Tuesday, we're gonna have the 2027 coming up here for approval and all that. So this is our recommended budget to have
Okay, so
everybody visible.
this is attorney's fees. Attorneys are on retainer. Yes?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Do you have any expectation for accounting and related services?
I didn't hear the question.
Can you say that one more time, sir? I'm sorry.
Do you have anything anticipated for outside accounting fees?
Outside of the audit,
Auditing fees?
just the annual audits, that would be the outside accounting fees, yes.
Where would that show up here?
That will show up, I believe it's under
Finance?
the finance budget once he gets there, and there should be a line item for those professional services.
So my next question is, why is the attorney's fee doubled from what it is this year? We had 75 in budget for this year, and now we're kicking that up to 160?
To cover the cost, is my
Cover
understanding.
the cost.
The
What's on
current
okay.
actual lawsuits.
Okay, so what's on the books then that is making us think that we've got to double our expense budget for attorneys? What's out there? More than double. On the radar screen, are we anticipating a lawsuit? What's going on that we've got to jack up our attorneys?
I don't believe we're anticipating a lawsuit. We have, can you touch
We're
on it?
not. However, we have spent a lot of money on existing lawsuits,
Yep.
and so it's a great question. We have spent a lot of money on existing lawsuits. As town manager, I would like to see us get out of a number of those lawsuits that I don't feel there's ever going to be a real winner on. The Santa Fe County has cost us a lot of money.
Well,
You can figure that,
was-
exactly, and
a
that's,
no-brainer.
that's a lot of it, but I would like to reduce, by at least 2 or 3 lawsuits that I can think of off the top of my head that we need to get out of, that, in my opinion, we need to get out of, because there's just ultimately no winner and no reason to keep pouring money into them.
Okay,
Yep.
so when you look, maybe we do a one-off conversation.
Okay.
I don't want to tie up everybody's time.
But feel free, please, come in and we could go over every lawsuit we have, and I can show you
I will
the,
be here. Tell me when you want me here.
we'll schedule, let's schedule a time and make it happen. We could even do it as early as next Tuesday if you want to.
Tuesday's great?
All righty, let's do it.
Yep.
Sorry, taking notes here.
Sorry for the interruption.
No, that is, okay, let me preface this. This is gonna be the most informal, probably, little workshop we've ever done, because I want the input. I want, ask your questions, whatever. I just ask that we all be civil and have a fruitful conversation regarding it, and, so, please please interrupt me, please ask questions, and I am taking notes on mostly everything that everybody's asking. So bear with me if I don't move on because of that. Okay. Do anything else particular stand out for the main GC side of things, for the government body part? We had, I'm just gonna highlight these. 160 increase in attorney fees, 31K in health and medical premiums. Do we know why we are adjusting for such a high increase?
Yes, that's based on the information we got from City of Albuquerque and the increase to our actual benefits costs. So health, medical, dental, all those things are going up.
And I assume retirement falls into that then?
Retirement is also part of that bucket. Those are rates set by para.
Okay. Our salaries are going technically down. Anything else? Yeah. That's,
No, planning and zoning will be in its own line, ma'am.
so when it comes to actual costs, I won't know most likely every single one of why it was over budget or what it may be. Okay. So now municipal court. DFA budget for the elected official, 19. Again, let's get this easy. Year to date, so any numbers? Sorry. I want to zoom in, but like I'm trying to keep the snapshot of the whole thing there, so I apologize. So questions, this is just for my personal note. I want to know why we budgeted 21 grand, yet we've only spent 567 there. So that way we could reallocate that money elsewhere.
That was gonna be my question.
Oh, okay. We'll get down lower and we'll see some of my highlights.
Commissioner Taylor?
Yeah.
If I may.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
On the other operating costs, I've been going through all of those lines and reallocating them to appropriate categories, so that way it's not lumped into an other. So if you look at the recommended 2027 budget line, I have budgeted 0 in other operating. Those should be delegated to the
Yep.
appropriate lines.
So recommended 0. So then, good thing about this portion for the municipality side is we're most likely lowering this 169,000-ish. And I do want to say, the projected, when we get to the very end and I have all lines summed up and valued, the projections, it's going to be slightly off just because it's not always going to, some costs, like talking to the police chief yesterday and lieutenant, was it the laptops or something like that? I don't remember exactly what it was. But it's a one-time cost that we already occurred, but it's not going to be able to be reflected in a spreadsheet like this, trying to be simple with it. So just FYI, and apologize. So then this would be another one of your examples where in 2027, we reallocate that money. Going into finance. So audit. So original 25K, year to date spent 59,000. So we most likely will have a variance of over budget 45,000, which shows the increase for 60K. And we have what, 2 more audits to get through till present?
Plus the current year, sir.
So 3.
So another line item for attorney fees?
That is for within finance. Year-to-date spent there 13, but that one don't project any more, under 38K. So then that's why 2027, we're lowering this to almost what we spent for this year. So lowering the 2027 budget to what our actual is. Or a lower of 41K, which can be reallocated.
What is the, hello?
Hi.
There we go. All right. What is the differentiation of the attorney's fees associated with finance as opposed to attorney's fees general?
There really isn't a differentiation, sir. So actually, the town manager and I had this discussion that that would make sense to combine them both into the commission budget.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand that.
So the attorney's fees within finance, they're not really set aside for a different purpose than the attorney fees in the commission or the governing body budget. So the town manager and I talked about combining those two just into one line item within the governing body instead of 2 separate. There's no need to have 2 separate attorney fee budget
Okay.
line items.
So that 2027 budget item of $60,000 for, I'm sorry, for 13,700 attorney's fees, that really should be general?
That should go back up into the governing body, yes,
Okay,
sir, you're
great.
correct.
Thank you.
What's professional services?
For 150?
Yep.
Oh, wait, no, this is not governing. Do you know?
Sorry, I'm taking notes as well. So professional fees and professional services, those can be a variety of things. Those could be engineering fees. Sometimes we have to pay for certain medical screenings for new employees, those sort of things. If there's a drug testing instance, those would be professional fees. So it's kind of a variety of different things, but professional services can only be certain licensed things, so whether that be medical, whether that be engineers, architects, those sort of thing.
Okay, so what, I get that, but why are we 100,000 over budget?
I would have to look into those details, ma'am, to see why.
Please, thank you. General liability
Us.
property?
Well, I was going to ask before somebody else did.
Yep, so those are actual bills that we get. We're insured through the New Mexico Self-Insurance Fund, and so those are the premiums and deductibles that are actually passed on to us, so actual expenses from New Mexico Self-Insurance.
I'm sorry, from what insurance?
New Mexico Self-Insurance Fund.
Okay. Way off in that forecast. Oh, insurance.
Other operating costs? Wait, so we're going to lower this one to 40K?
Yes, sir.
Why?
What does that consist of?
I was able to reallocate the other operating costs into other appropriate budget line items. So it seemed to be in the past that the finance team was using that as a bucket for a variety of different things. It could have been dues and subscriptions. It could have been professional services. It could have been other services. So instead of having it all in other operating for FY27, I proposed to put those in the appropriate line items, which is why that is the reduction. So the 40,000 in that one would have been something that didn't fit into another bucket, legitimately didn't fit into another bucket. And so that's why that
Okay, so,
decreased.
but where are they being reallocated to?
It depends on what the actual expenditures were. Each department was a little bit different, but I did find quite a few things that were dues and subscriptions related, or a professional service or other service.
Okay, but shouldn't that be broken down so that, you know, we know what that consists of?
Which portion, ma'am, the 40,000 for FY '27?
No, the 175, I mean, how was that number derived?
That I can't answer for. Again, this is the current fiscal year budget, and I wasn't here for that. The town manager wasn't here for that, so I can't speak for the prior finance staff, but I know going forward, that's why I was able to lower it substantially down to the 40,000 going forward.
Okay, I'd like to see, you know, where those funds are being reallocated to, because we're talking almost $500,000 right now of stuff that needs to be reallocated, but we don't know to where.
Okay.
Thank you.
So then, yeah, kind of like you said, this portion of the GC's budget's being lowered, 406,000 for 2027. Then we go into maintenance, what? Then we go into maintenance roads. I feel like they're actually the more squared away one. Are you talking that line item right there? Oh. That is a good question.
I can't hear over there.
She's asking how is there no cost for year-to-date spent actuals on dumpster days?
So those dumpster days, as far as I know, just started, and I don't believe we've actually received those bills yet, because they started in April and May.
Literally last month.
So we haven't paid those yet.
We never did that. We can't hear.
Hey, Cheryl, put,
I can look into that to try to see where they were allocated to. Yeah, but I know currently we
did.
are just in it for the
July,
spring.
July, August, September, October, and then starting this year. There should be some expense, and I wonder what that costs.
Okay.
Retirement and retiree health care. Sorry, I'm probably jumping down.
No, you're fine. Again. What do you ask? Right here?
Yep.
So retirement and retiree healthcare, again, is the para. Those rates are set by para. Same with retiree healthcare. That is a mandatory healthcare that we have to contribute to. Those are set by the state.
Okay.
On para and retiree healthcare? So this should be forecasted coming up correctly for the next fiscal year in the FY '27 column. So we can show it on the FY '27 budget spreadsheet, but I created a salary schedule with all those forecasting for FY '27, and it's broken down by department, by employee.
So I will say, I know this one's showing that we're gonna lower theirs 106,000, but I think this is probably one department we would consider increasing.
For roads?
Roads.
If they have specific needs that the commission wants to review, absolutely, sir.
Okay, and then we have another line item, 178, another operating cost. Yep.
So you,
What does that one consist of?
it's, the way I understand is the operating cost, because we're within maintenance, so it's maintenance operating costs. I don't know if that entails just random things that they may need.
It was random things historically, yes. So it was a whole bucket of different things in
So
there
even,
historically.
so we'll see operating costs in human resources and municipality and PD. We'll see each department of the governing body has their own GC line items, and they'll be repetitive.
Okay.
Moving on to HR.
Commissioner, did you say this one was HR? Because that's a new budget.
Yes.
So there shouldn't have been historic data in there. That may be mislabeled.
Might be then. You have the old one?
Trying to look, hang on. Trying to see which one you're on. for a second.
Would that have been for folks that picked up that task of HR before we hired the HR person?
No, I think it's just mislabeled. I'm just trying to find which department that should have been. I'm sorry.
So line item 250, communication costs. That one.
And year-to-date,
That should be PD, right?
Is that a 3001?
I can't see. He has them collapsed on the other side. Commissioner, is it possible to see what the number sequence is in column A? So I can see which department that is?
2011.
So 2011, I believe, is IT. Yeah, so that's you're looking at the IT budget, sir.
Who are the human resource people? Why the $140,000?
That is a mistake on my end. It was mislabeled as HR. It's really IT.
Oh, it's not human resources,
No, this is IT.
IT.
IT. Are you sure? Because I feel like there's IT lower.
So those numbers are a little odd, but that's what 2011 is in your column A. So something may have got misaligned on the spreadsheet.
Okay. Operating costs. So basically, question is just what goes into all operating costs for all.
Yeah, you're definitely on IT, sir.
Expensive.
So can we
So,
go back?
so in addition to internal IT staff, we also contract out for IT services for another 70,000. Or we have so far this year, correct?
Are you talking about this highlighted 75?
No, go back, go up a few items, contract professional services.
59,000
And
year-to-date.
we spent another 70, so in addition to the staffing that we've got in-house for IT services, we spend another 70 for outside services as well.
Yeah, so that is true. Some of that could have been, so for one specific example this year is we had a server go down and they had to restore all that data on that server. They had to send it out to a specialty person to restore that data. So that doesn't make up the whole 70,000, but that's an example of what is in that bucket.
Is there currently a backup procedure for that kind of thing?
Yes.
Okay.
Also, be clear, it's not an additional $70,000. We were budgeted for 59 and we spent 70. So it's, okay.
I'm saying that it's in addition to the staff, the salaries of
Yeah.
staff that we've got for IT personnel.
Also, it seems like someone was hired to create the website over again. Where's that cost figured in here? And I don't guess we ever got anything from it.
No, we're doing that internally.
But what happened this last year, back to earlier in the year, and I know you weren't here, Devin, but maybe Ken can answer this. They hired somebody to create a website, to redo it again. And I mean, this is probably third or fourth, fifth time. And we still don't have a website.
That's
We
Civic
got to
Plus.
create it again.
That would be Civic Plus that we contracted to do it. We had the original website, then we think about a year into the commission, we contracted for a company to go ahead and redo it. They didn't do a very good job, and then we went with Civic Plus, who does a lot of the municipality websites throughout the country. So,
Yeah,
because
that's
they
what-
had the experience.
Where's their cost in here? That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, you want-
Civic
oh,
Plus, I mean,
So
where did
Civic
we pay
Plus,
them?
what line item does
And
that fall
then
under?
we don't have anything from them? I don't understand that.
I would have to verify, but I think it's coming from the IT budget.
Where?
Let me look.
That would fall under contractual, wouldn't it?
It would fall under, it could fall under contract professional for the build out of it, and then the reoccurring should actually probably be under the dues and subscriptions, which I don't see for the FY '26, but, so it could be included in that contract professional services for the initial year. That could be another item that's in there, and we can verify that.
Can you clarify, did they start and then we decided not to use them, or what happened there?
So we are using Civic Plus currently. That is the current active website.
So why do we have to create another one? Just to,
It's not really creating another one. We're working within Civic Plus to tailor it exactly to what we need. That's what was nice about Civic Plus, is they can tailor it to what we need. That's the way I understand it when it was explained to us originally.
And our internal IT is looking at, for cost-saving purposes, building an internal website. One, it would save the annual fee of Civic Plus, because we do have an annual cost associated with that website. And so that is currently something that IT is looking at doing, and they have a draft put together for that, but it's more of a cost savings measure to have a website that they can manage in-house.
so you're saying we're using both? Is that
We're not using both currently, no.
what we're going to?
Once the IT, if it's approved by commission and they can get that built out appropriately, then we would cancel Civic Plus and only have the internal website.
Okay, just want to clear that up. Still not too clear. Thanks.
I see you pointing. Planning and zoning.
Can we go scroll back up to?
Yeah.
Planning and zoning?
Yep.
Thank you. There we go. Okay, now here's my question. We've got planning and zoning, we've got a budget of 291 for salaries, and that's double, or that's half, so.
Yeah, we're lowering it.
The difference with that one, if I can provide some clarification, is we did have a position historically earlier in the year that is no longer a valid position. So Mr. Hill, I think, was the former manager. So that is the reduction that position has been.
Excellent, thank you, Ms. Lee.
Can I scroll or?
Okay, and then again, we've got contract attorney's fees. Is this just a separate line item for more attorney's fees?
So the attorney fees and planning and zoning are specific for the planning and zoning attorney, and that's the only fees that are in that bucket, is just the P and Z attorney fees.
Why does P and Z need an attorney?
So here's why. Sometimes we oftentimes need a specialized attorney, such, let's take, for example, Marathon Pipeline coming through, that took an attorney to navigate through that had some familiarity with right-of-ways, pipeline, that sort of thing. So that's why that one's there.
Okay.
It's also a specialized attorney. That's all that attorney deals with is property and planning and zoning type issues. Yes.
So you are correct, ma'am. I think the discussions have been, we were sending out a lot of notices for the applicants, and then the discussion is going forward, the applicants will have to send out their own notices. So that should cut some cost.
Okay, so here I am again, talking about operating costs. We budgeted 500 and spent 13. Whoops.
So this is one of the ones, we're still going through the other operating to sort all of those things out of there, just like we've said, to try to see if we need them or if they need to be reallocated. And so Kelly and I are still actively working on that process because of going through expense by expense to identify where they need to go. So we're still going through that. Apparently, as of Devin's spreadsheet, Commissioner Taylor's spreadsheet, this is where we left off.
You can call me Devin.
Sorry.
PD?
I'm sorry to jump back to planning and zoning, but looking at the attorney's fees in planning and zoning, prior year budgeted, actual spent of 53,000. So for 27, we're anticipating that we will be spending another 53 relative to the marathon specifically, or what else might be the case?
Not specific to Marathon. We're trying to do our best to anticipate. We have some potential home subdivisions coming in, those sorts of things. So we've got to look at acquisition, using an attorney to help, let's just say Estancia Valley is one of them, extend the sewer line to incorporate those incoming subdivisions and that sort of thing. That all takes legal review.
So is that 53,000 a realistic number, or should it be more?
I'm sorry, what was the question again?
Is that 53,000 budgeted for 27, is that a realistic number to put down, or is it more likely to be higher than that? I know there's a tremendous amount of uncertainty associated. I'm just curious as to what the thinking was that went into saying, okay, 53 is the number we're gonna put
Right.
down.
It was looked at as, okay, these are the issues we believe that we see on the horizon. We anticipate usage of an attorney for these particular projects. If we don't get any more projects, and then we pad that just a little bit, knowing that there was going to be another issue here or there has to be as we move through the year. So it's the best guess in our crystal ball, to be very honest with you.
Kelly, do you know where the Estancia Valley subdivision is that you guys have been talking about? I don't know where that's at.
I do. To the best of, without looking at a map, it kind of wraps around Estancia. Oh yeah, there's a map there. It wraps around Estancia Valley. I mean Classical Academy, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I didn't mean that. No.
Way out there.
Thinking of something else, no.
Okay, so you're talking about subdivision around the okay. got it.
Yeah, and one of the,
It's
kind of
a horseshoe shape around Estancia Valley Classic Academy.
Gotcha.
And so here's another answer with regards to attorney fees and so forth. We see an opportunity there to work with the developer and Classic Academy to potentially bring the sewer line down further this way, hook this strip mall over here into it, and then also bring the sewer line down to Venus Park as well. So those are just anticipatory things that we think we would need, attorney to the review, sign off on, and that sort of thing. So that's kind of that long-term planning and vision and so forth. It's a great point. And if anybody has any questions about that development around the academy, I'm happy to talk to you about it as well, from what I know from the developer.
No,
Okay.
I just wanted to know where it was, because I hadn't heard that one.
It's not even on
Thank you.
Yeah,
It actually has another name, I can't remember what it is.
it does, and I can't remember what the name of it is either.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot what you called it. Lone Pine?
Lone something or other.
Question, why is retirement so high here for the police department? $500,000? Is that para?
budget, I assume it's the same answer of the
Yeah, that one's
regulated-
para, and the police department does have a higher rate that's mandated by para for their plan.
But they have to pay never mind.
The salary is almost 1.9 million, and retirement is $500,000? Amazing. Huge.
Profession. Do we need this many police officers?
What was your question, ma'am?
Well, I've got a tally here of employees and salaries. Do we need this many police officers?
21? Absolutely, we do. The growth of the town is forthcoming.
Scroll down to the totals.
To the what? Oh, totals, sorry.
1.2 million?
4.1.
Wow. That's huge.
Mhm.
It's the biggest department.
It is.
We really need 21 people in the police department,
As big as Edgewood is, yes, ma'am.
paying an average of what outside of the sheriff and the chief?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Was it,
What's the average salary outside of the chief and the lieutenant?
I would say the average would probably be 35,
I'm going to argue that point with you.
because and it varies because of whether they're brand new or whether they're experienced laterals. So the laterals will come in at 38, 69 with over 5 years of experience.
Okay, there's not one police officer on here that's making less than 55.
55 what? Dollars an hour?
55,000.
She's talking hourly wage, ma'am.
Yeah,
She's not talking full year.
yeah.
Well, this sheet lists all the employees, whether they're hourly or salary, and what their rate of pay
I
is.
understand that his response to you was an hourly wage, not an annual wage.
Right, but what I'm looking at is the annual salaries as they're totaled up here.
Right.
And the lowest salary is 56,000. Next one is 80, another 80, 84, 83, 78,
So
80,
what you
96.
have in there also is probably, some of those are incentives So the ones where you see the 40.19 an hour, that would be the 38.69 with a $1.50 incentive on that as well. So there are incentives for officers who actually work graves and spend that time away from their families from the 5 to 5 on the grave shift. So there are increases in there for incentives too, that kind of take it off a little bit out of the average.
Well, you know, I have a friend who was an APD officer, who's a detective, it's Rose, our neighbor. And she said Albuquerque's not getting paid this.
Well,
So-
they should fight better for their officers then.
I'm just throwing that out because when I look at relatively speaking, have we done any kind of comparative analysis between what we're paying and then what some, or similar towns are paying?
So I think the issue.
All
I'll let you
positions,
talk.
not just police, all positions.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Steve, didn't mean to cut you off.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Chief, but I think, so when we talked about the police salary last year, the challenge with Edgewood, when you compare it to similar communities, the unique difference here with Edgewood is I-40. So I-40, we're talking about 1 million cars a day
Sure.
with on and off traffic, right,
Yep.
coming in. So a majority of the crime that is coming into Edgewood is coming from Albuquerque,
Yep.
as far as Los Lunas, Socorro, right?
Las
But
Lunas,
you-
Belen, there, yeah,
Right.
that whole corridor up there,
And
yeah, I
so,
got it.
and so when you think about it, it makes it a little bit more difficult to say compare it to Rio Doso, right? Similar size, but.
Night and day.
Night and day, right? Because that I-40 issue that we have, right? So where somebody can easily get off I-40, hit Walmart, Tractor Supply, whatever, and then immediately get back onto I-40, right? So
Yep.
we're seeing that crime come here.
Yeah, I've looked at the
And
reports
so-
and where the high crime
and
is
so
in
that's
this
why-
area.
And that's what made it challenging to look at the salary and try to compare it to similar sized municipalities. You know what I mean? Because the ones that we were comparing to were,
Yeah, and we are competitive, but we're still under the mark.
Yeah.
We're well below their average, because Santa Fe County pays higher than we do. Santa Fe pays higher than we do. Actually, Albuquerque pays higher than we do. And state police is still the top in the state. And Rio Rancho, word is, they're actually moving to 41 an hour for their starting.
And
So
don't forget
we're still below the average.
Don't forget Bernalillo County.
Yeah, and Burnco, correct, thank
Yeah,
you.
they pay a lot more than we do. We lose people to them.
So one of the biggest obstacles that Edgewood Police Department has, the town of Edgewood has, when it comes to retaining officers, is our geographical location. Some of these departments, like the chief just mentioned, are some of the highest paid in the state, and they're all our neighbors. So we tend to lose a lot of good law enforcement officers because we are so close to Bernalillo County, APD, Santa Fe PD, Santa Fe County, state police. It's really based off geographical location that really makes us, we're forced to stay competitive with these big agencies.
I just was looking for an explanation, so I thank you, I really do, because I needed to get my head wrapped around these numbers.
Yes,
One thing on Tuesday, we're gonna have UNM presenting information on our recent salary schedule and so forth. So
Okay.
more to come on that one, it'll
For
be Tuesday.
all departments,
For
not
all
just
departments,
Make my day.
Good.
I have a question. Am I on?
Yeah, you're on.
You're on.
This equipment and machinery, that big SWAT machine and all, how much does it break out of there to cost us?
So I'll go ahead and take that one if you don't mind, Chief.
Yeah, you're closer to Rocket here over here.
So that big MRAP that you guys see in the Humvee that's parked right next to it, it costs us a whopping $0 a year. It's from a program called the LESO program, which is essentially where the military allows us to lease unused military equipment. So that program costs us $0. That piece of machinery costs us nothing.
Well, what about maintenance on it?
Maintenance on it, in all reality, we don't really use it. I wish we could send it back. So we don't use it.
So it's not costing?
No, ma'am, it's not costing us anything. So that big chunk of change right there for equipment and machinery is where we purchase our vehicles out of. And just so you guys are clear, there's showing a red line item there that we're in the red on that one. But in all reality, what this doesn't show is deposits. It only shows withdrawals. We actually have funds coming back in that are gonna bump that back up. They just don't show here.
And yesterday you said that was like 96,000, right?
Yeah, and that's just a portion of it.
Yeah.
There's probably still more. I know we got another 29,000 that was just received in another check that hasn't been allocated here that would fall in that equipment machinery line item. There's several checks that keep coming in, but when deposits are made to the town of Edgewood, they go into general fund. Then the chief and I have to go and make sure that the finance team reallocates them to the proper line item.
And so then this is also an example of, do you have any other projected equipment buys for the next 2 months or 45 days?
No,
So-
the last major equipment purchase that we have that would be coming out, we're actually pulling out of LEPF to finish up our LEPF fund for the year.
So yeah, so then projected 81K, this was what I was talking about at the very beginning. Things like that where none of us really know exactly until we sit down and have a discussion. So this would actually just go to zero.
One more thought, since equipment and machinery includes vehicles, why do we have a vehicle line? Why don't we just move, since it's nothing in vehicles, move it into the same line? Right. So why would we have, why do you even have it? Why is it a line item? Why isn't it just included in equipment, machinery, and vehicles or whatever? I guess that'd be more for the secretary, the treasurer over there.
Absolutely, and we don't have any projected budget in vehicles either. We're just trying to combine it to one line item. It is a line that exists in the accounting system, but we're not projecting to use two separate.
Because that gets confusing to people.
And then I have this box for you, Chief, just for a later discussion of what you see coming up next year to fill in for a budget for specifically equipment and vehicles. Just FYI.
What do I see?
Yeah, just later time.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, I appreciate it, sure.
27. That's why I have that highlighted. Okay, I'm sorry.
I wondered where this was.
I highlighted it because I knew everybody was gonna ask, so there we go, there's the, yep. And so there's the budget allocation for 2027.
And Commissioner Taylor, once you guys pass the ordinance, it'll actually be taken out of the general fund. So this is currently in general fund as
Yep.
historic years. A new fund will be created, so it won't be within the general fund. It won't be this line item anymore, but the budget amount will be valid.
And that fund is specifically for fires, I'm sure
Yes.
everybody's aware. Oh, yeah, go for it.
One thing to point out as far as the police department budget and a request for this next fiscal year. So what you don't see here is our animal control officers and all their equipment, their vehicles, all the maintenance required and all that is actually dumped into the police department budget. Now, a request for fiscal year 27 would be to separate them and actually have them as a subsection to the police department. So it doesn't look like the police department is taking such a huge amount of the town's budget away, when in all reality, we have police, and then we have animal control officers and all their equipment, not to mention training, vehicles, and so on and so forth, that are dumped into our budget as well. So it'd be nice to separate those so that we can then track all the spending and differentiate that this is ACO and this is PD.
My question is, there's a lot of buckets in here from each department. Parentheses, I don't need to see 18, subdivisions, things, but it should say, if it's a budget, with a bucket, that there's so many categories. And being an animal person, I get it with the animal control. I'm aware that that's part of the police department.
Yes, ma'am.
But a lot of people are not,
Right.
But they're the first ones to call and say,
And I-
Yes, it would be great to have those separated for this next fiscal year. Not to mention, when they do need an increase, the chief and I could then say, hey, commissioners, we need an increase in our training line item because we keep going over with our ACOs.
And after we talked about that, to talk to
Yes.
Misty and manager about it. Kelly, sorry, my bad. I'm gonna call you manager. Whatever you want to. Where am I at? Okay, oh yeah, that one.
What is the fire? What's 250?
So this was the line, column H is the column we're somewhat ignoring, because when I first started working on this, a couple weeks ago, we didn't have the DFA or the Tyler data yet, and so we had an assumed budget, which is what which was what a different column was, And within that assumed budget, there was a 250K in there. But then once we downloaded DFA and confirmed with Tyler, you see the 0 highlighted cell. That's why.
Wouldn't the prior period budget have been voted on? And
Yes,
the
July-
details provided in the
Jul-
documentation of that?
July 2025. And if you go on the public website and you have the DFA summarization sheet, when I try to download that DFA summarization sheet to cross-reference all these numbers when I'm doing this, because if you were to check my equations, I went over this a million times, because
Okay.
the moment you find one wrong cell, the entire spreadsheet doesn't work. When you download the 2025 DFA summarization sheet, it actually downloads 2024, and then when you click on 2024, it still downloads 2024. So something's up with that, and so I need to figure out why last year's approved July 8th DFA budget isn't technically under 2025.
Is it in paper form somewhere?
I have a photo
Okay.
of that paper
I'm-
from
in my own
from
head,
the
I'm-
manager.
In my own head, I'm just trying to be creative and saying, well, if I got a PDF of something, I could throw it in ChatGPT, and I can get a spreadsheet out of that, and that would give me numbers to play with. But I don't know specifically how it might apply here, so I'll allow that.
I have another question. It seems like on the fire protection, that 600,000 is not taking into account, we're paying 10,000 a month for the next 18 years also, besides gross, the .0025. Isn't that kind of a low figure?
So, yeah, so 600 was the assumption of 50K a month. I've yet, the ordinance coming up on Tuesday to actual properly budget it all. But that, it's still, yes, slightly.
I think you gotta see into it.
So, I mean, yeah, you're not gonna see any there because the contributions, that should be listed as a revenue, not a budget.
Where it says salaries overtime, shouldn't that be hourly overtime? Line item 305, yeah. But if you move all the way over to the left, it says salaries overtime.
Mm-hmm.
Shouldn't that be hourly and not salaried?
So I would have to look at the table.
Yeah, we can change it. Basically, from what I understand, when Tyler 10 was created, the names were created to match what the DFA system says, just so it didn't get confusing between DFA and the town. So we can change names, but I think it was named that way to match DFA originally.
Yeah, because usually you get salary, you don't get overtime.
Yes, ma'am.
And you work a lot more hours.
What are contract professional services relative to?
What were you asking, ma'am?
I was asking for clarification on the line item 321, contract professional services. I think you were talking to it over there, but I was hearing-
Why, somebody
So-
else asked the same thing.
So the contract professional services for the shelter is gonna be your vet bills, your stuff like that. We have to do vaccinations. Sometimes we get animals that are injured, that we have income and stuff like that. So they add up pretty quick.
Well, Lane ought to be doing this, he's giving up business out there to our East Mountain vet. He should be giving us a really good discount.
Oh,
I hope.
you know Lane?
I know Lane very well,
I
yes.
play hockey with Lane.
Yep. I think I put 2 of his kids through college with my vet bills. Okay, Misty, we get another operating cost. Is that gonna be,
Yes, ma'am, we're going through that one as well.
okay,
And then wasn't there the vehicle right here? There's not gonna be another one next year?
No,
Yeah.
my understanding, no, they're not doing another vehicle
Okay.
next year.
That was the van, wasn't it?
Yes.
And so
Yeah.
then even like, yeah, so then the remaining project, that technically should be that, but I'm not gonna mess with my spreadsheet right now.
so we're up another 130. All right.
Down.
Oh, down?
So so the green, even though that technically should be red because it's a parenthesis, I highlighted it as green because we're lowering the overall budget, which is a good thing, in my opinion.
Gotcha.
Okay, so I know that's
Backwards.
backwards logic, but so yeah.
I got a question for you on that one. I know that the shelter did get a grant to help pay for that vehicle. Now, do we have to show it on the DFA budget side just because it ultimately, the grant came in and then the funds went out from our budget? Because those funds, that vehicle was funded by mostly grant monies.
I'm gonna let
Yeah,
you.
that would show up as revenue.
Correct, yep, there
Yeah.
should be an offsetting revenue for that.
Okay, so that
If it
essentially
was
is not-
100% of it, it would be an offsetting revenue, but if there's a 5% fee allocated towards that grant, we would have it in there as some sort of cost.
Misty, the purchase price for Echo Ridge, when that comes through, where's that gonna show up at? They're gonna show up in Parks and Rec, or?
We could put it in Parks and Rec. I kind of tend to think, and it's one of my recommendations to the commission, that for those one-time capital expenditures, we create a separate fund for those. I think that would help with some of the overinflation for one-time purchases within the general fund if we had a separate capital asset fund that we made
I
those
just wanna make
purchases.
sure we're tracking that, because when
Yes.
BLM finally comes up and says, okay, you can buy it,
Yes,
I don't wanna have us say, well, where's it coming from?
yes, yes. So my recommendation is to create a separate fund
All right,
to
thank
track
you.
those.
So there'll be no YES program next year? The YES program
Yes.
is zero? Discontinue it?
No, YES program is going on still next year. That will be grant-funded program, is my understanding. Kelly, correct me if I'm
100%,
wrong.
yep.
So that should be reimbursed by the grant funds, once we get that.
Cool.
Yeah.
What's the difference between supplies recreational and supplies other? Yep. 363 and 366.
So Parks and Rec, they're two, Kelly can probably help me explain this a little bit better, but they're two separate departments within the same budget. So Rec has a budget and Parks has a budget, and so they do need to have a separate fund for things that are only recreation, so whether that be the events, things like that.
Just adding on to that a little bit further, while it's called Parks and Rec, I'm trying to really define what Parks does and what Recs does, and then fund those appropriately, because we've got some great parks and things like that, and I want to enhance some of those or make improvements or repairs and those sorts of things, and so we can do a better job of budgeting out further what else we want to do, what we want to get grants for, so just trying to clear some confusion up between the
So
two.
Are you talking about just making separate line items, one for parks and then one for recreation?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Thank you.
So, in maintenance. What is it? Hello? Maintenance and repairs, grounds and roadways? Does that include trails?
It does not, unless it's a very small maintenance item.
Are trails included in this part of the budget?
I don't believe they are, no.
May I make a suggestion that you find a place to put trails, because at least several trails that I know of in town are in dire need of some attention, like a little bit of Crusher Fines. It's only been 15 years since I did it.
I love that suggestion. Absolutely appreciate that suggestion, and we will see to it as done, because that's exactly where we're trying to head. We do have one existing grant right now that would help create trail down Edgewood 7 down to Venus Park here as well.
How many salary positions do we have in the library?
3.
Wow. That's good compensation.
I might suggest from the library's perspective, because we have so many people out here that want part-time positions, that the library consider that in the future is more part-time versus full-time, because we have so many residents looking for part-time work. And that might be beneficial for the budget plus some of our residents.
Commissioner, that's a great suggestion that we will take back and look at. And I think maybe some of that might be seasonal as well. We may see greater use of the library in cold weather versus warm weather. And we direct our attention to YES program and things like that in the warmer weather, and then library programs in the winter and colder weather.
And I agree that we need to have a qualified librarian.
100%,
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely. So that's, yeah. But, yeah, maybe we can do a little bit with part-time in the future. That might be beneficial for everyone all the way around.
That's an area that Misty and I have both tossed back and forth, and we see exactly what you see, and we have the exact same concerns. So thank you.
What does the library operations manager do?
The library operations manager would be responsible for determining, as I understand it, would be responsible more for the day-to-day operations of it with regards to what books are where, what books, those sorts of things, if there's, what materials out, the management of that event. And I will not argue with you, we may be a little heavy right there, and that may be something we need to look at if that's where you're headed.
Well, yeah, $81,000, I think that's a little high. And then on top of that, there's a library assistant and then another librarian. And those two are like $100,000 for the two combined.
Yes, ma'am, so noted.
Thank you. Little headed.
Downsizing, everyone understands downsizing today. Right.
Do more with less. Yep.
Yeah.
Another library question, furniture and fixtures. That's a pretty heavy turnover annually for furniture and fixtures. And then second question would be what entails library museum acquisition, and is that, apparently that is an ongoing thing. So questions about those two items.
So the first one I'm going to take on furniture and fixture, and this is a tough one because every time it rains, we have significant damage and loss of furniture and fixture. And so we are constantly repairing in the library because of that issue.
How often does it rain in Edgewood?
When it does, it's significant. And we do suffer, and I had a figure, a dollar figure, but you would be surprised what the dollar figure is. And I would encourage you at some point to go over and look at the library and see the light fixtures that have rusted out and we've oftentimes had to replace because water runs in and ruins them. So it is, we can laugh and joke about the weather, but when it does rain, we have significant damage in all of the building, but particularly in the library. And it's not our building to, yeah.
We can't,
So we got a roof problem, whose building is it, and why can't they fix that?
please.
The building belongs to the school, school district.
MDSW?
Yes.
So,
That explains a lot. Okay.
so okay, before we go too far down that road, we are currently working closely with the school district, and they are very congenial to work with us on how we fix this problem, if you will.
Flat roof, right? I got a great contractor who'll do a bang-up job on getting it fixed.
I'm looking a little larger, long-term town hall and library acquisition, maybe.
And I want to say, is the furniture and fixture, so when I attend those board meetings, they often get the chairs, they just updated, right? They got rid of it, they built a new little activity center, and then all the shelving, does that fall under the furniture and fixture with the grant money that they get for that?
The grant money should be separate.
Okay.
Can I ask again about library museum acquisition and what that is?
Yes, sir, I apologize. It's my understanding that the library museum acquisition, I think they have a contract with the museum and they come in and do certain events throughout the year. And they do those for the kiddos in the community. So those are a lot of those events that we see on the website and that we place on the agendas, but they have a contract for the library to come, or for the museum to come in and provide those events. Like Explora.
Explore, for example.
Okay,
Is there a question out there? I heard somebody say,
no, that was me. So basically, right now, we're at the bottom of the general conditions of the governing body. So this is the total sum of everything that we've reviewed so far, year-to-date so far, our projected, and our variance so far. And then based on our budget recommendations and for 2027, that number again, I know it's reversed, but lowering 1.3 million to try to get to our total revenue goal. I'm sorry, I was just having fun with you. I knew you were trying to take a photo. Okay. Does anybody have questions right there before we go into specific funds and stuff? Okay. So this should be highlighted.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Where is the joint powers agreement? That's with the county.
Where is it? In,
Right in our office. Oh, you don't want to physically know where it's at then? You want to know where it's at in the process or the?
What's the status?
There will be a separate fund created. The commission needs to pass that ordinance first, but as soon as that's passed. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But Mayor, just to assure you, it's completely signed under lock and key, ready to go.
Yay, can we get,
I thought it might, sir.
can we get copies on the website, please?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So going through all this, I've also believed that that I'm making assumptions here, so the authenticity of this statement is whatever. It seems to me, and I think Misty, sorry to drag you into this, you agree based on a prior conversation. Specific things, and this could be one of them, kind of were just coded wrong. We don't know how it happened, but some things were coded wrong on where we had money, and yeah. So if there was an expense for $30K and that line item was already negative, that was coded to a separate line item that had $30K. And I think this is just somewhat of an, if this technically year-to-date, which is what Misty inputted because she did all that due diligence and was coded to this specific line item, yet DFA's budget line item was for other operating expenses, we don't know. So I'm just pointing that out. So that's something to look for in the future once we find somebody in finance. Did I misspeak? Because I know I dragged you into that.
You did not miss.
Okay, cool.
So, a question, so when will that JPA be posted for, is it an ordinance be posted?
So it's on Tuesday's commission agenda. Some of the other commissioners wanted to look at the draft, and then it'll be posted. Yes, sir.
And how soon after it's posted will it be displayed in the newspaper?
So after Tuesday's meeting, we should be able to post it. We'll send the draft out to the newspaper. I think if they approve it on Tuesday night and we send it into the paper on Wednesday, I think it'll post the following Monday, just based on their time schedule.
Okay, and so it has to be posted for 14 days. Is that business or calendar days?
Calendar days, ma'am.
Calendar days. Okay, and who's going to publish it?
It should be in the Santa Fe New Mexican.
So we should just meet the deadline by the skin of our teeth.
We should have 10 days, 2 weeks before the end of June. To have it all wrapped up,
Wait a minute.
if my calculations are correct.
No, because if it's not going to get published in the newspaper until the first week of June, and then it's going to go for 2 weeks, that's going to be like June
15th.
6th or something, it goes in the paper, and then it's got to be published for 14 days.
So, yeah, I anticipate it to hit the paper probably around June 1st. If we can get the commission approval at Tuesday for the draft, it should hit the paper around the 1st.
Sorry.
So 14 days.
Tuesday.
Yeah, I'm retarded, I can't find the calendar on my smartphone.
I was just trying to find one here and I couldn't either.
There we go, so Tuesday, post it up Wednesday, so then it have to count with the newspaper first, 14, 15 days from that, which would also be our next.
Well, it's 14, now it's 14 days out from June 1st, so
Oh,
it's,
the 16th, sorry, my bad.
yeah, so the 16th, and that gives us 2 weeks.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that enough time to get all the necessary signatures?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna hold you
Okay,
to that.
You can, you
I
can.
will.
Hold everybody to that.
Okay.
Because the JPA is already signed, sealed, locked up here, and then it would just be the published, just be the ordinance is all. It wouldn't, the JPA is not in question
Okay,
at all.
and so are you guys gonna have another specific public hearing to review the JPA? Because that also requires like, what, a 3-day?
Not for
I'm
the
sorry,
JPA,
I'm
just
just
the
looking at
ordinance.
it.
Just the ordinance, ma'am.
Just the ordinance.
Okay, so when is that gonna be published so that, because we've gotta have, don't we have to have town hall on approving that before it's published? Have I got
The ordinance, ma'am, or the
backwards?
JPA?
The ordinance.
The ordinance?
The ordinance does, yeah, so they'll approve that draft Tuesday, and then
This
it would get posted as soon as the newspaper can do it, which I assume is Monday the 1st.
Okay, so
Yep.
is there gonna be some kind of notice that goes out to tell people that we need to have everybody in attendance on next Tuesday's meeting to review any JPA and address any other questions?
All right, so
Because there's never been a public meeting, to my knowledge, on reviewing the JPA.
There's
There
been
was.
3.
Yes, ma'am.
Was that the one that I, was that, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I was thinking it was the one.
So
What does
the
that
JPA is done. I mean, all that's missing right now is the final approval of the ordinance. It'll get posted on the 1st of June. Then we can have the ordinance hearing, providing the commission approves the ordinance, which I don't think it's going to have a problem with the commission. That, on that day, we approve it, we sign it, and it's done.
We can only keep our fingers crossed, and that it'll be done, and there won't be any more hiccups or delays in getting this thing. Well, you know, we can always go up and light a fuse under Santa Fe's butt if we need to. If we need signatures, I have no problem doing that.
That would open a can of worms.
That would open a major can of worms. I really don't, I mean, I know Santa Fe can be difficult, but I bet by them not signing it and reneging on what they agreed to, of course, anything can happen in this world. I think that would likely open the can of worms and create major issues as far as. Yeah, okay, thank you guys.
As my friend calls it, Satan Day.
Haven't heard that one.
Well, that's good too.
Yep.
Oh, so I was wrong earlier when I said maintenance?
Maintenance is facilities maintenance management group.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Josh is a segregated fund.
Let's go with that color. So this is roads department, just FYI. What? I was like, I like your table.
We're taking applications for this.
What's on line item 502, Devin, what is supplies, uniforms, linen?
So this is roads department, so I imagine that's like rags and all the clothes they wear for oils and stuff like that as well.
And they do have uniform shirts and those
Yeah.
sort of things, because they get covered in chemicals and whatnot, so we have a company that handles that cleaning.
That, and we also have to have, they have to have meet certain DOT requirements when they're out working on the roadways.
Fire rated and all that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tell me when. More?
That's all of there. I just wanted to see what's, I wanted to see if you've got, I guess it's not there. What about, gravel and chips and oil and that kind of stuff?
Talking about road base and that material?
That's the stuff.
Yeah, some of that's covered under grounds and
I was gonna
roadways.
say,
Mhm.
imagine it's that.
That doesn't look like nearly enough.
Does that include all the millings that the road crew's been using?
So we have those millings, Commissioner. Those are ours, and these would be additional specialty gravel that would pack down tightly on top of the millings before we do the chip seal. One thing I'd caution on this one, and this is gonna be a tough one to predict with the price of oil rising up and down and our bulk needs for oil when we chip seal and that sort of thing.
There's the other dumpster days cost too, so those are probably the ones in the fall that we were asking about. So it looks like there's two lines in the budget, so that will be something else that the town manager and I can do, is combine those into one line for dumpster days.
Oh, and then, yeah, so equipment and machinery, I highlighted that one, because don't we have now the roller and the blade?
Manager Hamilton put that lease on hold until we got through the budget season and through the fire.
Copy that. Cannabis, this is one of my biggest questions. Zero DFA, yeah, we spent 44,000 on it. I did, thank you, that's my question, so.
So the cannabis funds, there's an offsetting revenue line, so we're only on the expenditure tab on Commissioner Taylor's spreadsheet. So there's an offsetting revenue line from the tax we get from cannabis. This is used for abatement on the properties, so those homes that were all cleaned up within the past year, some of them are demolished, some of them are cleaned up, but the 44,000 was spent on abatement. So the Planning and Zoning Department used that for home abatement.
And that might be the cost coding where we have the money, not necessarily where
Correct,
it
so
was truly budgeted.
we've spent the money, but they didn't have a budget for it for FY
So you're
'26.
talking about fixing up, I'm sorry if I understood this correctly, to restate what I think I heard you say. That is tax money, it's just like 20%, I think, is the taxes on cannabis at this point. And that money was used, $45,000 was used for property improvements, did I?
Not property improvements, but for some of the homes that aren't livable anymore, that needed to be cleaned up, the condemned homes, those sort of things, went to cleaning those up, and a lot of those homes were removed, demolished. And then,
And where did this happen?
I don't have the addresses.
But all over Edgewood, yeah. And then we file a lien on those expenses.
On those properties.
On that property.
Yep.
Right.
Correct.
Okay. I'd still like to know what homes got demolished, because I don't.
Well, the easiest one I can tell you right now, there's one on Mustang Road. On Mustang Road right over here.
Okay.
There's, if you go up there, I think it's the third lot on the left, you'll notice there's nothing there anymore. Where there used to be a house that was falling apart and a mobile home that was pretty much collapsed.
There was two homes, a mobile home and a home.
Yeah,
Okay, so in the same road.
yeah. Both those structures were condemned. They were not livable for a rat.
Okay. Thank you, guys, because I looked at that and I thought,
And there's also, I mean, up, down, correct me if I'm wrong, down off on Church Street on the right-hand side,
yeah, that's a pretty gnarly area, some of it
There was
down.
one there in the past year or so. I know there were a couple on Range Road.
that's the other one, thank you,
Range?
Range Road.
And so that 222,000 budgeted for 27, that
Correct.
you anticipate that you're gonna have to follow in line in that same capacity?
So that number came from the current fund balance. We have 222 available in the cannabis
Okay.
for use if we needed to. We may not necessarily use all of that, but that's what's available for use on abatement should it be needed.
Got it. Thank you.
Pretty nice.
Yeah, the program has been self-funded.
Okay. 536, operating costs, DOJ.
So 680K, 88K was spent. Now, there was no budget. I don't know what this.
I can
This was
speak
a
on that
grant
one.
fund for actually
So-
the police department for their vehicles.
and we
Yes.
So
spent
that's what 800
688? Oh, Lieutenant,
Is
sorry.
that the,
Yes, so that's the grant that we got for 8 vehicles. We actually got a total of 8 Tahoes out of that grant and fully outfitted those. Now, the reason that it doesn't show that it's fully spent is because we, just this week, got the last 3. We ordered 5, had those fully outfitted, put them out on the streets, and then just this week, we got the last 3. So we will get really close to spending all that grant money, but this 800,000 is in fact grant money.
Okay.
So if that's grant money, that's gonna skew. I know, so I'm just gonna actually, we're gonna. We're just gonna ignore it for now. so that way it doesn't skew the rest of them. That's, I don't understand, oh, that's because of the original, oh yeah, I'm supposed to ignore that column. Okay. DFA 1.2, spent 1.8, you know about that one?
This is the appropriation and grant fund. So historically, finance had them all in these 3 line items for all appropriations and grants. That's another recommendation that I have for the commission, is to separate all of the grants and appropriations into their own line items for better tracking.
Yep.
What money did we borrow that we've got to pay back in debt?
Manager Hamilton and I are actually looking into that today. We actually got an email, surprisingly enough, from NMFA today about this debt service. So we have a message into them to ask what that original project was for, so that we know exactly what it was spent on. But we have,
Yeah, there's another one right up above that that says the same, debt service, principal payments and interest payments.
right, they had, they looks like they had duplicate lines in this fund. But
So, line.
Oh, this one, my bad.
correct.
550 and 551, and then it comes down in 559 and 570.
Misty,
560.
doesn't the GO bond that was for Rainbow, Horton, and what's the name of that road behind Walgreens? Walker. Isn't that falls under debt services too, doesn't the repayment of the GO
That
bond?
may be what
That may be
what
Yes.
this one is. That could be that. Manager Hamilton, I just wanted to confirm which project that was that we're paying debt service on.
I've got an answer.
Yes.
Okay, so you're talking from Horton, from Venus down to Dingle, because nothing's been done from.
No, this was a money that the town borrowed years ago to pave Horton, to do the paving over in Rainbow, and to do the paving on Walker, right? Walker. So we're still paying off that.
Okay, but Horton, the other half of Horton, the other 2/3 of Horton just still hasn't been done.
Right, because when they originally got the bond for that, they didn't, that part of the road wasn't included. So we're paying off what the town spent when they originally paved the section of Horton that is paved, and the section that they went ahead and ground up and repaved on Horton, and then also, like I said, Walker and Rainbow. So the town went and did those roads and borrowed money on a general obligation bond, and so we're still paying off that general obligation bond.
Okay, I got that. So I'm probably digressing here a little bit. The meeting a week or so ago, there was a gentleman here who talked about doing road work and road maintenance and was talking about chip sealing Nugent. So my question to you guys is, what's happened to Horton between Nugent, Hill Ranch, and Hill Ranch to Venus? Because that's been talked about for the last 10, 15 years maybe? And it's
2014.
Right, and Horton is Horton has 3 phases left to it.
Right.
The section between Venus and Nugent,
Yep.
between Venus and Hill Ranch,
Yep.
Hill Ranch to Nugent, and then the nightmare part of it is
Yeah,
Nugent to
yeah,
Frost.
That is a disaster.
Yes, all that is packed dirt.
Yep. I've driven down there.
So-
Some mules a few weeks ago, so.
To my recollection right now, we have a drainage plan for the section from Venus to Hill Ranch.
The one that keeps flowing.
And what I've been told so far, one of the problems they're having is we're having problems with dealing with the property owners because that water has to be diverted somewhere.
Yep.
And none of the property owners want the water to be diverted onto their property. So that's an ongoing issue.
Okay. so
Yeah,
what about, I get that, because that's kind of what I figured after talking with a gazillion different people. But what about from Hill Ranch to Nugent?
That's phase 2, and that hasn't yet been engineered and the drainage hasn't been done yet on that. So you can't go and actually build the road until you have the engineering done so you know exactly how to build it and where the drainage drainage issues are gonna be, so where the culverts are gonna go, where's that water gonna be directed to?
Okay, so here's my next question, Ed, on something like this. There was a town hall meeting, right around the time COVID hit. And Rita Lloyd Horton and I were on that line, and Tammy Lucadamo Hill was wanting to put in her subdivision. They got shut out of the water along with what Rory Jensen wanted to do because of lack of infrastructure. Now, what's happened in the meantime is Tammy has subdivided her property, that 20 acres that's over there, and Rory Jensen's put in a half a dozen homes on the other side of Horton Road. How did that get approved when we don't have the appropriate drainage and infrastructures to support another 20 houses? I'm throwing it out there only because I've been doing this for a while, and I understand you gotta put infrastructure before you have building, but yet all these buildings are going up. There was never any notices, at least I drive by there all the time. And all of a sudden, all this development's going up, and we're now dealing with the same street problems that Hill Ranch, or not Hill Ranch, but Horton, between Nugent and Hill Ranch, has got a lot more traffic, and we still are faced with the same drainage problems that we've been faced with for the past, I've been in this house for 20 years. And it's the same situation year after year after year, more houses, more development, and the road's a disaster. After a rain, it's, don't drive over 10 miles an hour because it becomes an axle breaker. And I drive a big truck. So that's my question. What's the game plan on Horton Phase 2? But you guys have been talking about Horton for 10 million years, and nothing's happened on either section of Horton. This side, the south side, going from Venus to Dinkle, that got paved and a real nice trail put in there, but that's not addressing the bigger issue, which is we're gonna do Nugent. Why are we doing Nugent? There's not enough traffic that goes down Nugent from 344 out to where that cell tower is.
The thing on Nugent, that was for a cost and time saving, the way it was explained to me, because there are so many underground utilities that run along Nugent. Every time they go to grade it, they have to come back out and respot everything. So Nugent was always constantly having an issue. We get that chip sealed, we never have to do the spotting again, and we don't have to worry about Nugent, and we can go ahead and start focusing on the others.
The problem on Horton, though, between Nugent and Hill Ranch, all the utilities are underground. So
Well, I'm talking about the commercial utilities, not the residential utilities. There's a major gas line that's running.
I know where it is.
Yeah.
That gas line cuts across the corner of my property. I know exactly where it is. It's the corner of Nugent and 344. It's on the northwest corner.
And then once Nugent, they're gonna be chip sealing Nugent, what, is that,
Nugent's one of those.
second week of June?
Something like that, yes.
Yes, that's in early June, sir.
Yeah.
I'll own that. So I got with Josh and I said, what roads, pick a road of each district, so that way there's no favoritism, and then let's go do those 5 roads.
Battle gear, because I want Horton done.
I have it noted.
Well, I want Horton done too, because I would like to use Horton to be able to get to Frost. Because I live there. I mean, not at Frost, but,
Yeah, you're on Square 8.
Yeah.
I know where you're at.
Watch yourself. Just keeping it light. Trying to be like you guys over there. All right. I'm just gonna scroll down here, wastewater. Are we reflecting the increase in salary? No, we're not. So that number's gonna have to go up, right?
For what, sir?
Wastewater, because of get another employee out there?
I'm sorry, Commissioner, what was the question again?
So we're under wastewater sewer enterprise, and 57K for current full-time positions, but we need to get that increased, right? He needs help.
So here's a situation, Commissioner, with wastewater, and it's a pretty serious situation too. We just went through an inspection with the New Mexico Self-Insurance Fund, and I would be amazed if we're not going to get an inspection by OSHA here very soon, because we have one person in a very dangerous facility, and we don't have a second person in case that first person goes down or something like that. And so we have to do something there. I'm not sure what. At one time before our time, I believe that there was a second person allotted to wastewater, but then the person in the former town manager may have moved them over to roads or something with the
Well,
understanding.
it was actually it was a roads person that was designated to go and help with wastewater.
And I've talked to the self-insurance fund and so forth, and that's wonderful, and we need the help, but it doesn't do anything if there's an accident and the current wastewater person.
Yeah, they need two people working over there.
100%, Commissioner, 100%. So that's and the other thing, and to get back to probably the original question here, is we do pay a lot in overtime because whenever the system goes down or notifies the current operator, he has to respond on a weekend or holiday, or like, for instance, he's about 3 hours away right now on vacation with the understanding that he would have to come back if we have a problem in the wastewater treatment plant this weekend. So it's not a good situation.
OT 1.5 or 2.5 times?
What's that?
Overtime, is it 1.5 or 2?
1.5.
1.5.
But it's a situation we need to
Oh, absolutely.
address,
No
you know.
argument
Yeah.
from me on that one.
Yeah.
That's a major health concern.
No, and Mike's done an amazing job over there working, I mean,
100%.
if I could clone Mike.
We'd be in good shape. Or better shape.
What was that movie a few years ago with,
Duplicity?
yeah, Duplicity? We could do that.
There we go. That'd be helpful.
I just had that exact same conversation about that 3 days ago.
So who's been asking about contract professional services over there?
What is that company?
What's that? So, you know about that one by chance?
I don't off the top of my head, other than you had to sign a contract with the wastewater operator? Could that be those expenses, sir?
You talk about the professional services?
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Go ahead,
the
Commissioner, you know
licensed
it as well as
operator
I.
we have to have a contract with. It used to be at one time, EPCOR was the contractor for there, and then, what's his name? I think he's out of Colorado?
I don't remember his name. Utah, maybe?
Do what? Is it
Utah.
Utah? Well, definitely far north from here. But I believe he's retiring, isn't he?
So he did retire. We had to contract with another firm, and
Yeah.
they're hard, very, very hard to come by.
And
But
what
we
do
have,
they do?
so they certify to NMED that samples are being taken properly, everything's being done properly, and they just certify that. Yeah, and I wish I had a better answer for you than that, but it's costly and it's a requirement.
Yeah.
No, there's no argument with me on health and safety issues.
Yeah.
Supplies, 19K, 22K over. This one, no, this is wastewater. It's just a,
594, we're back to supplies, other,
Yeah, you budgeted 500, but it was.
yeah, that's why I have it highlighted.
okay.
It's all questions. Same with this one for 599, 1,000 budgeted, spent 31.
Yeah.
Yep. Another one, 69K
Yeah,
with operating costs.
Are the windmill operation costs coming out of wastewater?
I believe they are, yes, sir.
Okay.
Anyway, they're-
'Cause I know it went down and we had to get it fixed. That cost a few bucks.
Yeah.
higher operating costs, so that just needs to get broken down. Be more specific and not just a single line item.
I mean, this one, not even budgeted for. This one, this probably projection is wrong. Given those numbers exactly aligned, that's probably not accurate.
So Misty, what, the debt services on this one, what do those represent? I mean, I think we've got now, what is there, 6 debt service payments and interest?
This one I'm not sure on, ma'am. I would have to look into this one as well.
Okay,
I
We've had fun. We've kept it light.
Okay, so, what is this other trust and agency stuff? And why do we have $195,000 in the 2027 budget?
That's the impact fees that are collected in the Planning and Zoning Office. And so a portion of that is going to need to be sent up as part of the new JPA to Santa Fe County, so we're budgeting that in there.
Okay. Kevin, don't move that, I need a picture. Thank you.
Good luck.
Hey, I take it any way I can get it at this point, can I tell you? Thank you.
Okay, so obviously this is summed up from everything that we've reviewed above. Changing that one, change the variance. That's good. Obviously, and I've owned it, that my projections, without knowing absolutely every single line item cost, is gonna be skewed, so we're roughly around there. The one question that I have, and that Kelly, Misty, and I have been trying to confirm and make sure it's correct, is the revenue number, to actually show what a true deficit it is. That is my one unknown right now.
Can you ballpark that number?
I
I'm
would
gonna
say
let- I'm
about
gonna let
9
you-
million would be my ballpark, but don't hold me to it.
About 9 million.
It's a little over 8.5 million, right at 8.5.
So a $4 million operating deficit over the period.
Is that right?
No, we have not currently overspent by $8 million, but the budget was budgeted in the deficit originally. In FY '26, they budgeted more expenditures than revenue. Yes, sir.
Why would you budget
DFA shouldn't have approved that.
Agreed. We should not have budgeted that way.
So is this, our new budget in balance?
That's what we're working on with these reductions and reducing, that Commissioner Taylor's been going through. That's why we've been trying so hard to reduce the budget, because we need to get back to at least a balanced budget to where revenues equal expenditures.
So as I understand, you don't know what the income is?
So there are some, we have identified this week, actually, that there are some missing revenue deposits in our accounting system. So that's what we're going through to verify now. So finance was behind on entering a lot of their revenues. And so we're going through that over the next few days before we approve the final budget to solidify those numbers. But there are some missing deposits, yes, in the accounting system. We can count for them in the bank, just not the accounting system.
You're gonna present the bank balances, are you gonna see how much money's in the bank?
That's what
Yes.
we've been,
Yes.
working on. Is
You're
to,
working on the bank balance?
to make sure all the balances and all that should are correct too.
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cuss right there, my bad. I just rolled out, my bad.
So do you not know, do you know if you have enough money in the bank to cover the joint powers agreement with the county?
Yeah, I will say that our main account holds, what, 6.9 or 7 million
6.7, I think, as of this
6.7.
morning. Mhm.
this morning?
You have that much?
Yes.
6.7 in the bank?
Yes.
Yes.
That makes me smile.
Very good, Mayor.
Wow.
Good.
That's what we want.
Then don't look at the screen.
And Misty, correct me if I'm wrong, but there was also an issue on reporting the money that we received from grants to put in as far as the way that was being initialized in the revenue.
Correct.
And that was throwing off a lot of numbers and misleading a lot of people.
Correct. You are very correct. They were being categorized in the incorrect budgets and incorrect line items.
And you're in the process of getting that fixed.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So you say we have 6 million in the bank, extra.
That's
What
total
is it?
balance.
Well, what's in the bank to pay the bills that we have coming?
Correct.
In
Right.
other words, that's part of the revenue.
Correct.
So, like, do we have any money in reserve, I guess is what I'm trying to get at after paying the budget and stuff? Is there extra money anywhere?
Yes.
How much?
There is. I don't have that full number
Generally.
because we're still working on that
Any
clarification.
general idea?
But I would anticipate, I mean, this is ballpark, so again, please don't hold me to this. I would anticipate maybe looking at budget deficit 4 or 5 million would be my guess.
Sorry, so you're saying we're in the hole? I'm confused.
So we have reserve in the bank. That would be my guess, is what we would have left after this
5
fiscal
million.
year. And we, cover for our deficit that Commissioner Taylor's been talking about, our over expenditure. I would guess we should have maybe 4 to 5 million in the bank. But that's just my best rough guess until we verify the revenues.
And so that would allow for, like, say we had to got an opportunity to finally buy Echo Ridge. I don't know how much they're wanting,
Right.
but we
So
would
that
use
could be
some
used
of
for
that
those
money.
one-time.
Does anybody have any idea what that's gonna be?
Echo Ridge, I think, was $10 an acre?
Don't quote me on that, but I don't think it's over $4,000 or $5,000 ultimately,
Yeah.
exactly what the
Okay, good.
per acre is.
Have we gone through everything?
Just about, so if our best, obviously we gotta confirm, if the number is 9 million in revenue, when the DFA budget was approved at 12.8, year-to-date, we've spent 10.7 with a skewed, wait. Oh yeah, that's because I summed it. Oh, it's right there. Yep. So total projected by June 30th, we would most likely will spend around this number at 12.8. So with our revenue, total year-to-date, and basically what we spent year-to-date compared to what we have coming in, it will be a negative 3.8. With the adjusted recommended budget at 10.7, which is a lowering of 3.1 from the prior fiscal year, using that 10.789 number and the same $9 million revenue, that right now is currently showing 1.7, so there's still work to do.
So you're predicting overspending income by,
Misty, the 9 million there, is that just GRT revenue, or that's all revenue?
That's all revenue, sir.
Yeah. We need to find 1.7 to have a balanced budget.
$2 million.
Correct, yes,
balance the budget.
to balance the budget.
Where are you gonna find that?
That's,
We're gonna walk Central.
I'm asking staff, where are you gonna find that money?
So we're gonna continue to go through those other operating line items and things like that, just transaction by transaction to see what we can cut out of there. So that's still the current exercise that we're doing. We're hoping to get this lowered more, taking feedback as far as overstaffing, those sort of things. That's all recommendations to the commission on Tuesday to try to balance this out as best as we can.
Wow. If we're done with that discussion, I have questions about the joint powers agreement.
1 second, and so then I just,
When you're ready.
yeah. So obviously, that's why I said what I prefaced, or we were trying to keep it light. Anyhow, so I did just do this extra just because I think there's speculation. Whoops, my bad. Come on, computer. So this is something, so I have two things that I did want to say regarding this workshop. I am working on a draft for a policy that got a rough draft, or at least a template. What I would like to see happen is that the department heads, it's their duty and responsibility to, whatever budget is passed, to manage their budget. And so say governing body, if we have $739,000, that should be projected out over 12 months, and whoever's in charge takes that 12 months, and at month end, they get their costs, and then they go into their spreadsheet, and they adjust where they were at on that month, and if it's an over and under, we're actually gonna go to planning and zoning here. So if planning and zoning was under budget for the month of July, and they had a savings of $10,000, they should take that $10,000 and go put it towards March and April, because during March and April, we have tax season, so people have a little bit of extra money to spend for permits or whatever home projects, and so they reallocate that money. And so I'm drafting a policy just so that way department heads are more responsible for the financial responsibilities of that department and keeping track of what they had to help try to cut on wasteful spending and just, yeah, we could do this. Oh yeah, well, I was looking at my budget, when in reality, nobody's actually, not nobody, when in reality, they're not tracking it to the best of their knowledge and actually looking at it. Can I truly spend $7,000 in random contract services? Can I truly do this? And that's something I personally would like to see. Obviously, bigger discussion here, but that's something for me that I would like to see. The other thing is this. I wanted to do this because 5 months ago when I came in, I first heard that the police department was 51% of our budget, when in fact they're actually only 32.5. And with the budget cuts for 2027 so far, that they're now would only be responsible for 28.61%. And so I just broke it down for the percentage of the total budget of where each department is at. And where I'm going with this is something I would like to see on the website is, and we talked about this earlier, is having a tab specifically on the website, and it's more like a pie chart. So just take this and make it a circle. Obviously, I'm not belittling. Make it a circle, and then you'll see the different sections of the pie chart with the certain percentages per department, and you'd be able to maybe click on that. And when it opens it up, it pulls up their approved budget, and you could actually kind of see and maybe just start with there. And then maybe in the future you implement, okay, if we're in Q2 of our fiscal year, they would have a budget, and then if the department heads are keeping track with their policy of actually tracking their general conditions and their budget, we would be able to see exactly what we just reviewed. Year-to-date spent, what the remaining balance budget is, and stuff like that. And it might be just more transparent for everybody. So that's where I was going with that. Lieutenant, sorry.
No, if that does actually come into fruition, which I think would be great, it's really good for transparency and keeping the public up to date on numbers and everything like that. I would ask that maybe we can add the number of personnel per each division, because, for example, law enforcement in the PD right now, we are short-staffed, but yet we are still the largest department in the town by far. We still have 21 employees, even short-staffed.
Yeah, I agree.
Are you looking at increasing the first receipts tax for next fiscal year? Try to balance the budget by raising taxes?
That's kind of against my belief. What?
So at least going forward with the,
Considering raising the first receipts tax?
It hasn't been talked about yet. No.
That's one way to help balance the budget.
That is one way.
And I think you need it for the joint powers agreement.
Could, but
We're trying to fix,
Would you, hey, lady, I'd like to hear, sorry.
so my opinion only, but I don't believe in raising a tax for the mistakes that were made. And so I'd rather have town hall, and that's why I'm so happy with Misty, Kelly, Devin, the new finance department folks coming in to come back and put us back into where we should be, right? Because a lot of decisions by people that no longer work here were being made that put us in this situation, right? Everything from the JPA issue was a decision made that should have never been made, right? The decisions on how this, Devin, honestly, this was more useful to me today than the 4 or 5 workshops we did last year, being my first time going through a budget, right? This was much more useful to me to see where we need to be. And I know under the leadership of the town manager and the town clerk that things are going to be entered correctly moving forward, because the fact that whole numbers were used last year, and how things were entered in Tyler, by, I don't even know what her title was, finance manager or whatever she was called, just putting in numbers and not even entering them correctly and throwing us off completely. So I don't want to raise taxes on the citizens of this town because people made really poor choices. And I think it's on the commission to come back and go to all the departments, say, hey, this is where we need to be, help us get there. And these are the cuts that we just have to make, right? Because I don't believe punishing a taxpayer for somebody's incompetence at the end of the day. that's where I am at personally, and I don't believe in taxes to begin with, so, the more we can avoid doing a tax increases would be my preference.
Well, I certainly agree that that would be first choice. However, I suspect you can't cut, now you'd have to cut the police department in half, for instance, and you can't do that. Can't do that, so I'm afraid we're gonna have to raise taxes.
Well, and I think there are positions that we have that shouldn't be there. And I think with the salary of, with UNM, I think when that comes through, again, decisions made of, oh, we're paying out of salary, right? For, I don't wanna name anybody just yet, but we're paying a salary that is $20,000, $30,000 over what the average is in the state. We need to get all those back in order.
Thank you, Commissioner.
So,
Thank you.
Commissioner Taylor, I have a quick and easy solution to pull $200,000 out of the PD budget. It would be to, like we voted on twice before in the past, to cut Social Security out from the PD budget. So the Social Security has opted, the PD has opted out of Social Security twice. That's $200,000. It could be placed back into somewhere else where it might be needed.
so LT actually just had that conversation with Chief last night about, getting away from the Social Security. And so I think, getting the ballot with the officers and the commission doing the resolution and making that happen. I know it was done before.
Right.
But I believe since there's been overturns since then, that we need to give the guys that are currently there a fair vote, come to the commission, do the resolution, then Misty and Chief and you can work with Para to do it,
Right.
because the previous town manager tried to go through the
Social Security and overshot Para.
And she went the wrong process, so
Right.
that's why it never happened. So I
Right.
would say, let's reset that, let's redo
Right.
that, and I agree with that 100%. We just talked about it.
And I just, earlier in the week, I took copies of all that stuff, the resolution that was passed, and even the copy of the ballot to Melissa, so that she would have copies of all that, because we wouldn't need to reinvent the wheel. All you would need to do is assign it a new number and then redate it. Then do the proper publications as far as when the vote is gonna take place and so on and so forth.
And if you think the officers are okay with that, I was just wanting them to just redo it because there's new guys.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't know what their opinions are.
Oh, absolutely.
Some of them might like paying twice, I don't know.
Absolutely.
But I think it'd be worthwhile to do that.
No, I think, and that's a quick $200,000 that could go back into another area where it's needed.
Commissioners, I don't expect IT to need an additional 100,000 over last year either.
Okay. So that's 300 right there.
Stephen, you mentioned that you did a comparison, or you found comparisons for other salaries and things.
That's the UNM report that we'll be going over on
Oh,
Tuesday.
okay, great.
And, you know, full disclosure, like I said, decisions were being made and by a former town manager and former clerk and former people making decisions, right? Because they had the discretion to do that, but making decisions that completely took, I mean, a finance director, I mean, $20,000, $30,000 over what the state average is for that same position, that's ridiculous. I mean, it needs to be market value, and a lot of positions weren't market value.
Right.
And as commissioners, our job is legislative or quasi-judicial, right? And the day in and day out, and that's why I think with Kelly and Misty and Chief here now, with that have, let me choose my words correctly, because I don't want to insult anybody, but people that are doing it the right way, moving forward, and,
All I was gonna say is, I don't think, anybody that's here is finger pointing at you or anybody else.
No.
I think the frustration is basically on what you just said. There was a lot of stuff that happened in the past, and at this point, can we go back and fix it? No. Is there any point in doing any finger pointing? No. Let's fix it going forward, so we don't end up in this blue bar again.
Exactly.
Because I don't want to do this again.
And as Commissioner Taylor was pointing out the website, I remember mentioning that at one, it was when I was it was before.
You could take my idea, it's okay.
No, it's his idea, but I had a similar idea in the sense of like, let's just put it on the website so people like yourself can come and self-audit the town and say, hey, Manager Hamilton, this doesn't seem right. Hey, Treasurer Clerk, this doesn't look right. We're like, oh, great, more eyes on a problem
Absolutely.
will
This
save
is
us
teamwork.
so much heartache.
None of us can fix this by ourselves.
And I honestly wish you were here last year when we were going through the budget, because it was my first time going through it like a knucklehead, and you know, another commissioner, you know, he was telling me, oh, I know this, and now he's not even here anymore, but he's telling me things, and I'm like, well, how come you didn't catch it, right? You were supposed to mentor me and
Ignorance is
show me,
bliss.
right? And so I think having more people looking at it will save us.
Absolutely.
I know the
And
town
I think
staff
that
would
that's-
appreciate it.
That's, from my perspective, being a project manager is knowing full well I can't do this by myself.
Exactly.
And so it requires all of us to get together and look at this stuff and point things out. And for me, this isn't personal, guys, this is business. And I don't take this personally, to be honest with
Well,
you.
and I believe what Booker T. Washington said, never do something that somebody else can do better.
There you go.
And so, other folks that have a mind for this, I mean, Devin has a mind for it, clearly I don't, that's not my role.
Yep.
But having that kind of mind to look at it is super helpful.
Well, and I think it is, and honestly, if were there budget meetings like this last year, I don't recall ever seeing anything
There
on
was
the
like
website.
four.
Yeah.
There was like four of them.
Okay,
But
well, I
I
missed
think
it then, my
today-
apologies.
Today's budget review was much,
No, you did a good job.
much better.
And this is also the first time we've done this workshop at this time frame, and we've actually had more people show up for this workshop than all the other workshops we had combined.
Right, well, and I think this, no, this is, in my opinion, this is great, because I'm a numbers person, and this makes perfect sense to me, I understand a lot of it. I think there's some gaps that, you know, the other
Yep.
operating, other, things labeled other drive me crazy, because I want to know what other is. And from my perspective, this is a good budget, it gives us a place to start, and now we know we gotta come up with $2 million, and.
If I can, I want to go back to something too. I really want you to see this on a regular basis, because when you see something out of whack and you come knock on the door and say, hey, why is this out of whack? That gives us an opportunity to tell you, hey, we had to do this unexpectedly at wastewater treatment. So there's no secrets, there's better transparency.
Right, and I think that that's what's important. From everyone in Edgewood I've talked with, it's been a transparency issue.
Yeah.
And trying to get people sometimes engaged in this community can be a challenge. But,
Only on certain topics.
yeah, we won't go there. But I think it's important for transparency, and I'm available anytime you guys want to use me as a sounding board. I'll come up and look at stuff and.
Interested in a part-time position.
I don't, no, I can't make it. I'm old, I have social security, I can't make any money.
A volunteer position.
I pay cash.
I will take cash, Amazon gift cards, transfers to my PayPal account,
All under $599.
or you can pay off my house.
No.
Don't
Same.
go much on it.
Are we done here?
Yeah, I just have one more question. This is more of a higher level procedural kind of thing. So looking at the anticipated budget, and I recognize that that is not set in stone at this point. There's flexibility, there's adjustments that are going to be made. But that's indicating roughly a $1.8 million deficit in the future period. So going forward, the effort is going to bring that to zero, correct?
Yes, that's what I would love to see, yes.
Well, is that the plan?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
And try, and
And I
still,
know you got to pin down what your prior period revenues actually were.
Yep.
Using that as a basis for presumption going forward in the
Correct.
following period. But I just wanted to make sure that my understanding was correct on what the ultimate goal is for this process.
yeah, absolutely. And they're 6.7, and if we're running a $3.8 million defect, we'll make it 21 months, and then all of a sudden, out of cash. So, yeah, we have to, that's not even, that is the goal and it has to happen.
What is the difference between law enforcement, protection, and the police department?
Law enforcement and protection was some state-funded programs, and it did cover some salaries and bonuses, retention bonuses, things like that.
Law Enforcement Protection Fund is like she said, is state granted funds, and we get that every year. Those funds are generally used for equipment, training. You have to map out how the spending is actually spent before you apply for the grant.
Who determines budget cuts? Let's say you're within a period and you're recognizing halfway through it, oh my gosh, we're way over budget. Are you precluded at that point from making subsequent cuts, or are you locked into the budget as it exists?
So you can always spend less than you have budgeted for originally. So if our spending is out of control, commission can, at that point, take recommendation from staff that we need to cut spending. We need to do a spending freeze, a hiring freeze, whatever that looks like. There's nothing that says that commission cannot approve that.
But even on a day-to-day basis, we can be good stewards.
And we're trying.
Yeah, and we're trying.
We're really putting effort into it.
Okay, all right, so you have the flexibility to say, okay, we're stopping here, we're stopping here, we're stopping here to make up for the deficit that we recognize at that point through the period.
Yes.
Very good, thank you.
And to kind of piggyback off yours, one thing that I was thinking about, and obviously I'll talk about it a little bit more on Tuesday, but one of my goals for the town leadership and the town staff is to start, hey, things are coming, this is a tough year, let's minimize as much as we can, and let's relook at this, like Commissioner Taylor was saying, let's relook at it more often and more frequently. And I think we need to have a mid-year, if not a quarterly review.
Until we
of
get
it.
ourselves out of the hole and figure out
Exactly,
how to get, we're not the federal government, you know, we can't spend what we don't have.
exactly. And the nice thing is, this year, it's not an election year for the town, as far as local government goes. So we just, 'cause I know last year was a little challenging with, you know, we can only spend up to 50%, so having to check in on that, but we never said it publicly, and it's like, oh, well, if we do these quarterly reviews, regardless if it's election year or not, then everyone's just,
It gives you, in my opinion, and having gone
Excuse
through
me,
this
I'm going to
process
interrupt
sometimes,
for just a
it
second.
gives you a better snapshot
Hello?
of where you are per quarter, so that if you get down to, you know, third quarter and you're way over budget, then, you know, it's whoops, no overtime.
and the quarterly reviews in the past was just a sheet that was being passed out.
So
And-
something I think might fix this little problem is something that used to happen, and that is a monthly review with the budget numbers for every department on black and white paper in front of you guys, in front of us, and review it on a month. You need to watch your spend.
And that was part of the policy that I'm
And
drafting.
yeah, it's not just a policy for departments, it's a policy for the entire town. And it used to be done. It was a regular review of funding on the second meeting of every month. The second meeting being, that was when most of the spend for the month had already happened.
That's what we used to do.
That's right.
The second
We used to
meeting
do it
of
every month.
Second meeting. Yes, sir.
Makes sense, makes sense.
Any idea when that stopped?
2022?
I wasn't here, just I want to preface that. None of us were.
Something else to keep in mind? gross receipts tax levies are not controlled by the town.
No.
They are controlled by the state. And I do believe that the town has adopted all of the levies that we currently can get a hold of. You're saying no, Bob?
No. Almost 2.1, almost 2.1.
Yeah, but each one of those levies, each one of those increments has a specific destination in your budget. So you can't just put it in your general fund.
You got about 4/10 of a cent, certainly over a quarter. That's somewhere around a quarter. We can go almost up to 2.1.
Right, but when each one of those increments, every single one of those increments, like 1.5 or 2.5 or 0.25 for fire, all of that goes into a specific fund. So there's a 0.375 for environment, for instance. We've already incurred that one. We already adopted that. There are a couple that you can do that require vote of the public. You have to go out for referendum on them. But no matter what, all of those levies are specific to certain things. You can't just say, I'm going to put this in my general fund so that we can pad our budget and get us out of a hole. It doesn't work that way.
I was about to say, any other questions? I got a whole notebook of notes and questions that I will start getting answers to, so.
One comment on
I'll see if I can find my spreadsheet on your GRT income for this year.
Okay.
I tried to find it. I did it earlier.
Okay.
I have it, but.
Thank you.
Hey, do you know what the ballpark was on the GRT?
It was 8.478 million, somewhere right in there. I know it ends with 53 cents. But my memory is usually really good, but sometimes on long numbers, not quite so accurate.
One comment on JBA, I'd like to work with Misty and Kelly, because first payment when we do on July, on the date that we receive our GRT. And so, I want to work with you on that. And we have to jointly, with the county, come up with a number. Basically, a week, 2 weeks from now, because the week of the 8th is when the new report will come out, the RP 500 will come out that week. So we need to be working with the county to jointly come up with a number to pay them in July.
Something else, just a question, because I'm making an assumption that you've been working with the county's attorney on your ordinance, as well as your own attorneys. I hope, question mark. Has that happened? Has there been a review of the ordinance by the county?
So it's been going back and forth.
Okay.
And so the ordinance that we'll look at on Tuesday, in my opinion, was getting a little out of control. And the ordinance really just needs to create the fire fund. So that'll be presented on Tuesday and everyone will be able to see that. Santa
Will
Fe
it have
has
the
given
instructions to
feedback.
DFA?
Say that again?
Will it have the instructions to DFA, so the tax and rev does the withholding?
Yeah, that all has to get submitted up to DFA
Okay.
for their approval.
Just check.
Yeah. But yes, Santa Fe, to answer your question, they have given input.
Anything else? Well, thank you. I don't know how these end.